Hello, everyone, and welcome to our classroom management and behavior analysis. We have entered into week 7, and our reminders for this week again is I still haven't received a few assignments for our week 3 modules that you all completed with these certificates. And so, if you could please make sure that you email me any certificates that you've received and also upload it to Moodle. Remember again, stay focused. We are almost at the end of this course. And make sure you watch for the weekly updates and check your email. So a post, because we had a lot of posts from week 6, but one post that stood out to me that I would like to reflect on, I actually highlighted the section that I wanted to talk about, it was the number 4 in the post, and it says, I can assume that the child could have been wanting a tangible item, but I do not see the evidence to support that path of thinking. And so this stood out very true to me because the student who posted this assignment, when I saw this, I got really excited and happy because of the statement that stated, I do not see the evidence to support that path of thinking. A lot of times when we see things, especially within the classroom, or if someone shares a story with us, we go to assuming. But then if you're going to assume something, you have to make sure that you have evidence to support it. And so where it was obvious that this child was going into tantrums each time that they were in the presence of the adult, there's a lot of things that we can assume, but we have to make sure that the evidence that we are observing or that is present supports our assumptions. So great observation. I truly love that. Another thing that I wanted to make sure that you all went over, there was a document that was shared during week 6 about measurable goals. And when a lot of you were going through posting your goals, you did go back and you reflected on making sure that the methods that you chose, how it was the permanent product or structured observations or qualitative measures. A lot of you also made sure you set deadlines by putting the dates in, and that's also important. And we have to remember that our goals have to be attainable for the student. Every child would a goal that may work for one student may not work for another student. They may need to have their goals closer within the timeline of each other. So for week 7, our learning outcomes includes composing a customized approach to the effective behavior management of teaching and learning. This approach will be designed to meet your needs and those of all learners, including those with disabilities. And so as we look at the classroom structure of being an inclusive classroom setting, I know back in the day, because I shall not give out my age, there was this thing of, oh, I'm not going to go into special ed because I don't want to deal with writing IEPs or even the challenges that having a student who has an IEP will bring, the additional challenges that will bring to your classroom. And so you have people who they wanted regular ed, and the special ed was considered to be a whole separate entity within the school building. Well, when we have inclusion stepping in, you have to, as a classroom teacher, prepare yourself for every situation. And one of the things that I've learned, and I will tell you that will work for you, is if you are not in special ed, to build a close relationship with the special ed teacher within your building, because they will offer you resources that you have students in your classroom who may not need to be identified, but may be working at that same level as some of your students who are identified. And so instead of always believing working smarter, not harder, But instead of trying to come up with different resources, you have that person who's a great resource right there in your building, and you're able to do a lot of teamwork with. And so I want us to start having that mindset of reaching all of our students, not just our special ed students, or having these things in place for our special ed students, for every student in your classroom who has a special need, or just a need, period, whether it's for their emotional needs, academic needs, or social needs. Your readings for this week includes chapters 5 through 8 in the Martella text. PowerPoints are available. Also, make sure you look over the strategies to improve transitions and time management. This will be a huge component when you are in your classroom and trying to make sure that everybody is staying on task. You will notice that when you're collecting data, let's say you have a student who has challenges, a lot of times when you start collecting data, you will notice that it may be during transition. And so it's then your responsibility as the instructional leader in your classroom to find ways to help that student or assist that student in making successful transitions. And so, is it that the type of transition that we're making? Is it the next activity that they don't want to go to? How can we make this transition work for that student or that group of students in your classroom? I know before, when I first started teaching, I used a rain stick. It's very quiet and very soothing. And my students, they knew when they heard the rain stick that they would freeze. And I would turn it, I'll always tell them, I'll give you 4 turns of the rain stick, and when you're done hearing the rain stick, you have to freeze and your space has to be clean. And so that was an expectation, but that was also a lesson that I had to teach the students to help them understand, and not just expect them to know. It was an actual lesson that we had to go over several times just to make sure that they understood it. So this week's discussion form, sorry for the typo. I apologize. I will fix that before I upload for the 7. Didn't delete the X. Your prompt is using the following resources as well as any text or outside resources. List and discuss at least 5 ways you will include social emotional teaching and learning in your classroom. Include a discussion of the reasons for your choices. And so this is your time to take everything that you've learned in this class, from your readings, from your research, from your experiences in life, and explain, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And we all know that we always might start out one way, but we usually will end another way. But I want you to think about, what are some needs that you've observed of your students already, or in classrooms that you've visited? What were some of the things that the teachers did that you questioned, or some new things that you've learned just from our course? For example, anything that you're expecting your students to do, you should be willing to teach them and give them a lesson on it. We can't, as our A word, assume that they already know. We have to set that standard in our classroom and that expectation, and allow our students to know what it looks like. Your week 7 assignment is our classroom rules and routines assignment. And so you're going to use and complete the assignment template that's available in our module in our form in Moodle. And you should write a minimum of a paragraph for each question. Be sure to include in-text citations and references for any information that you use that is not your own original thought, idea, or common knowledge. Please have this paper, the template that is in our form. You're able to use that template, those questions, but make sure that you make those questions centered and in bold in the paper, and also include a title page to make it a PA format. And again, anything that you use that that there's information from our text that we talked about, or any other resources, make sure you include those in the your paper also. And if you have any questions about this, or you feel like you need for me to upload a template, I can upload an actual paper template for you to make it easier. You can reach out to me through email or just in the message. So our week 7 devotion, it says, no test or temptation that comes your way is beyond the course of what others have had to face. All you need to remember is that God will never let you down. He'll never let you be pushed past your limit. He'll always be there to help you come through it. And so that's 1 Corinthians 10:13. And this, I typed this to a devotion that I saw for teachers. And I have the link here for you. But it focuses on the topic of, oh no, you got him in your class. And I know a lot of us who have been in a classroom already or in other classrooms, when you get your class list and you know that there's that one student in the school building who has those special challenges, and I always tell them, oh baby, you just need some extra love from Dr. Foley. But I used to get stressed, like, oh my gosh, this year is going to be a hard year, and I would speak that into my year and into my life, that I was going to have a hard year. And then I had to change it up, and I had to ask God to forgive me, and I had to switch it to, Lord, allow me to know and see who you've placed in the classroom, who needs that extra love from me, who needs that extra attention. And so a lot of times it was very obvious who needed it. But God will place children in your classroom who truly need you. And there is something about your gift and your calling that God wants that child to experience. And so when you have that child in your classroom, there may be something that they're going through that you're able to help get them through, you're able to give them strength. And it may not even be about your lessons. It could be about something personal at home. And so just remember that when you have those students in your classroom who may be having challenges, they're not having challenges, and they don't wake up in the morning thinking, oh, today is the day I'm going to make, I'm just going to use one of your names, I'm going to make Miss Hannah want to quit teaching. I'm just going to make it her worst day. Matter of fact, I'm going to make it her worst week. They don't wake up thinking that. A lot of times someone at home or someone outside of the school building has hurt them emotionally or in other ways, and you just end up catching the anger and the hurt. And so knowing that they may be coming to school with that anger and that hurt and not know how to deal with it, I want you all to, again, focus on how can we prepare our environments and our classrooms so that our students can be successful in a way that if they are having a hard time, we've provided them with a place that they can go to that is quiet. We've provided them a place that they can go to and just relieve their stress, whether it be by listening to music, squeezing a stress ball, drawing. A lot of kids, I've had one student who needed to actually bounce a ball. And so he would go stand outside of the door and bounce a quiet ball to help him regulate his feelings and regulate himself. And so those are just some things I want you to think about this week. If you have any questions about your work, I will reach out to the students that I haven't received the certificates from, because I want this, again, to be a successful course for everyone and for you to get through. Horrible weather is supposed to be coming, and I want you all to remember to be safe, take your time wherever you're going, and just continue to stay prayed up. Don't allow anything to get you down, and stay positive. You have a wonderful, blessed week, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you.